Goodreads is telling me that I am 9 books behind schedule, and I am also realizing that we are in mid-September. We don't have as much time until the year ends, and I basically have so many books that I still need to read. So I am always encouraged to have a massive TBR, but let me know by the end of this video if you think I will be able to read everything that I have planned here. And let's start with Red Rising. I read book 1, 2, 3, but I want to continue, so at least I want to get into book 4 this year. I absolutely love this. It has great characters, it's very adventurous, and it seems that the story just continues to be better and better and better, and I cannot wait to see more of it. I also just started Wheel of Time, which is, as you know, super short, and I've just read book 1. I want to at least read book 2, 3. Ideally, I would like to get into one of these books per month so that I can get into the 14 books eventually, but I'm not sure if I'll be able. Let me know if you think I should keep that pacing. Now, I also want to read some cozy fantasy standalones, and I really want to get into 10,000 Stitches. I really love Half a Soul and Small Miracles by this author. This seems pretty short, it has fairies, and I really want to blend all of these massive stories with short standalones that can get me the plus of yes, I read it, and also palate cleansers. One of my favorite books of last year, Promise of Blood, it's a trilogy that is concluded, and I want to get into it at least this year. And the premise here, this beautiful balance between politics and religion and adventure, and this very high stakes where there's a prophecy, a god that might be emerging, different perspectives, all of that really fascinated me. Also the humor was super on point for me, and I cannot wait. And talking about series that I have opened and that I really want to continue, we have the Winter Night trilogy. I only read The Bear and the Nightingale, and although I've been telling myself that I will get to it in winter because it has just that beautiful setting, I don't know if I will be able to read it. Folklore plus adventure plus a very independent main character with a beautiful writing style. I really want to read more. And the same author also has a series that is more middle grade, but I found it really charming and fascinating, and it's slightly spooky. The first one is Small Spaces. I read book 1 and 2 already, and I am completely sold. You will be surprised on how spooky things are, and it's very tropey, but it's done in such a good way. First book exploits fear of scarecrows, and second book about ghosts and haunted mansions, and book 3 I think it's about clowns, which sounds terrifying, and I really want to know more about these characters, their stories, how they advance, and they are very short, so also easy books for my list. Right? But if we go to slightly more complex reads, I really need to continue with The Long Tomb. I've only read Gideon the Ninth, but Harrow the Ninth seems very good. It's also a read that screams fall to me, right? Like necromancers on space, that sounds very good. The perfect match between fantasy and sci-fi was very on point for me, and it seems that this gets also better and weirder, and I cannot wait. Another story that I have opened, and that it's dense, and I think that even if I don't continue as much, I've done a pretty good job this year. I've read book 1 and 2 in the Dandelion Dynasty, and I'm about to start book 3. The thing is that people say that if you read book 3, then you need to go straight after book 4, and that is such a huge commitment because each book is kind of like 1,000 pages long. So I'm not sure if I'm able to do that this year, because although I love these characters and this world, it just takes so much for me because it's intense and it is very profound, and it is still something, it is epic in scale, and you need to be very aware of what you're reading, and I feel this will be a little bit too much. And so instead I thought that I can continue with The Faithful and the Falling series, which is concluded. I read book 1, loved it, but again in here there is such a huge cast of characters that I cannot really read it so long apart one book from another. So I really want to get into book 2 because this fight between the good and the evil and this medieval setting, it really stole my heart. I was really feeling it, and I believe this can become one of my favorite series of all time. So I really need to give this another try. Similar thing happens with the Life Ship trilogy by Robin Hobb. I loved Ship of Magic, and I feel that I am now starting to forget the details, not really because it's very character driven and therefore I have a pretty good mindset of who the characters are, what are their motivations, but I finished book 1 really motivated and really concerned about these characters, and I feel that if I don't pick book 2 somewhat soon, I will not really pick it up probably next summer when I want to read something that has pirates and watery vibes again. And that is such a shame because Ship of Magic is one of my favorite books of this year, and I believe they can become one of the best. The Gentleman Buster series, it's also calling me. I read The Lies of Locke Lamora 2 years ago, and I feel this is again a perfect book for fall, for autumn, for the end of the year, because it has such vibes. You have these misfits, you of course have the ultimate heist, but it also has this little bit of magic, and the world seems magical, and it's really reminiscent of something that I want to read in autumn. And if you thought that I did not have any other series opened, you are really mistaken, because I have like way more. Starting with The Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I read book 1 and the second book, which is the conclusion of that duology, which seems like I can feel achieved and fulfilled. It's here, I have it, it is beautiful. And book 1, I remembered, it passed so fast. I really loved it. The narration of the audiobook was also good, so I can probably squeeze it. It had beautiful folklore descriptions, it had adventure, love triangle, and it really calls me because it really had this beautiful Asian inspired setting that it's my favorite, and it's kind of like a comfort read for me. A somewhat darker story, which book 2 will be released very soon, is Dark Rise. I am obsessed with this story. I think it is not known enough, and I am mad about that. It is the fight between the good and the evil. It has a secret society that remembers what happens, and it seems that this guy is the only one that can stop the evil that it's emerging. And I was so obsessed, and I really want to go back and continue with this if I can. Same thing happens with Only a Monster, and these people, these monsters, are able to suck time from humans and use it to their advantage. I thought the premise was so fascinating, so unique, and things ended in such a cliffhanger. Then we of course have the Devavat trilogy. First book I absolutely adored, and it seems that book 2 and 3 are even better, so please explain to me why. I did not read it before, why? But now it's calling me. I fear I am already forgetting the details. I know the main characters, but this world that was so rich and so beautifully constructed, it's now fading for me, and I need to bring it back because I know this can become one of my favorite series of all time. Then of course the Once Upon a Broken Heart trilogy will be concluded, and I absolutely loved book 1 and book 2. Absolutely amazing. It has the best slow burn that I read in such a long time. It is young adult, but it's beautiful. The world, it's whimsical and magical, and it is really a young adult book that it's worth it. And I know I won't be disappointed by book 3, but just tell me how I will read it. Just tell me how. And last series that I have open, I think it's the Lee Canis trilogy. I really enjoyed The Shadow of What Was Lost, but I loved The Wheel of the Many by the same author. And so I want to give this author another try and go back to one of their worlds, because if book 1 was good, I feel book 2 and 3 can be great. It is an epic story with a magic system that it's really unique. It is a quest. We have these different friends. One of them has incredible powers that are about to break the world, and he needs to go away. It is really something that it's for me, I think. But then of course I want to read other books, open new series, or read other standalones. For starters, I really want to start The Final Strife, which is a book that was gifted, and I really want to get into it. The trials, the premise, the magic, all of that seems really down my alley. It seems that it's very addictive, and I want things that are addictive. Also, Scythe. I've heard so many good things about this book. It seems the perfect story to read in October, because you're basically following people that are reapers and they don't want to be reapers, but society cannot die, so they basically need to do that. This sounds so down my alley. It seems the pacing, it's really fast, and I should be able to get to it really fast. So maybe between other more dense stories, because I'm also want to start Melassan, Book of the Fallen. I don't know how that will be. Just book 1 book 1 will be enough. Gardens of the Moon. I hope I am smart enough for this book and that I have the enough focus to get into the characters, as the patience enough to go with the flow, not panicking because I don't understand what is happening, and not being frustrated because I don't remember who is who. But you know, people really loves it or hates it, and I want to know where I fall here. Also, another polarizing book that it's not short and I am currently reading, it's Empire of the Vampire. I've heard the first part of the book, which is where I am now. It's a mess, but then it becomes something so amazing, so incredible, and that sounds really, really good, right? I want that 5 stars here, and I want this from this book. Also, shame on me for not reading The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue by B. Schwab. I absolutely love her, and I've not read these either, The Shades of Magic, so I feel that I need to get into her adult stories because I love her. I 100% appreciate how creepy and profound and slightly spooky her stories are, and her magic, it's always very unique, and there's no B. Schwab book that I've read that has disappointed me, so easy bet for me, right? Let me know if I should read it. Another easy bet for me is Yellowface by another favorite author, F. Kuang, and look at this beautiful edition that was gifted to me by Johan from Library of Viking. It has sprayed edges and it's signed by the author, so how can I not read it? It seems that a lot of people it's loving this book. It's becoming so loved by so many people, and although it is not fantasy, I think this will really become one of my obsessions this year, hopefully. Then I also want to read Gods of Jade and Shadow because I've never read anything by Silvia Moreno Garcia, and I'm really entranced and peaked about how the prose will be. I've heard so many good things about the beautiful story. I love standalones, so I cannot wait for it. Also, The Art of Prophecy, it's very high in my TBR. I want to pick it up as soon as possible. I think I will absolutely love these. I love the mentor trope, and I've heard so many good things about it. It's one of the favorite reads of Elliot Brooks, and I usually really like the stories that she likes, so I think this will become a favorite for me as well. And finishing with my physical TBR, we have the Book of Gothel, which is a standalone that it's a retelling of Rapunzel and also screams fall to me, and I cannot wait to get to it. Honestly, I don't know if I will love it because some friends have told me that it's not necessarily my cup of tea, but I want to prove them wrong, you know? But of course, I still have my digital TBR, and in there, I really want to read The Long Price Quartet. I've heard so many good things about it, and I just want to try it out, see if it is for me or not. It seems that it's epic and that I will love it. Same as A Touch of Light by Tiago Abdallah. I've always have it in my TBR. I got it recommended multiple times from people that knows my taste, and they believe that I will love it, and I recently knew the author, which is pretty cool, and I now really want to read it and see what happens there. Also, Travis Baldree, it's going to be releasing the prequel companion book to Legends Atlantis, and Legends Atlantis was one of my favorite books last year. I loved how cozy it is, and I think this release, it's gonna match the vibes perfectly, and this is 100% a book that I'm saving the date of release because I cannot wait. Same happens with Secret Project number 4 from Sanderson, which will be released at the beginning of October for me, that I'm backing this up, and gosh, it seems that it's going to be super Cosmere aware. One of the favorite books of Sanderson within the Secret Projects, and it's the conclusion, so I feel that he's going to close everything with a bang. It seems that it's the book that it's more closer to his usual writing style boys, and that is kind of like what I want from him at this point. I want this standalone, and I want him to deliver a standalone that feels as him, although this journey has been great, but I want something from him. And I'm sure the new stuff will pop up. I really want to get into Brian Cahill at this point this year as well, same as Sark Argyle with Voice of War. I've heard this gonna be 100% like me, Mistborn like powers. Yes, but so far I think this will be all. Do you think I will be able to read all of these? Because Help me. Let me know down below if you had other book recommendations, or how do you suggest to blend all of these. I cannot wait to see and hear what you have to say. And thank you so much to my Patreons who have joined the Ink Guardians Society and are helping the book spirits to remain alive by reading. We have a book club, live reading sprints, and lots of different challenges. We are having a blast. So join us if you want. Details are in the description down below.